Thank you so much. And thank you also for coming. And probably as I invite Mr. Sylvester, he will also introduce his team to us, Christine, Madeka. Yeah, you will be introduced, and we are grateful for your presence in this place. He's representing the Principal Secretary, Mr. Sylvester. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Let's just appreciate.
Thank you, and good morning all. Colleagues, architects, designers, manufacturers, and all the others who are in this room for the conference. As you've been told, my name is Architect Sylvester Muli. I'm the Chief Architect at the State Department of Housing, Urban Development, and Public Works. With my colleagues here, Christine Songole is one of our designers, Mr. Madeka, and Mr. Nyale. They are just a few of our colleagues. We do have in the ministry a number of designers, and we are still recruiting more and more. We intend to grow the profession as part of the built environment. Just a reference to that clip we've just seen. I think most of us as designers, we've always thought about the use of space after we've designed. It's very rare that we think of people who have or living with disabilities, that they can also be able to be part of the site staff. And the site conditions as they are in most of the buildings we put in are such that it is very difficult for people who are disadvantaged to be able to work. And I think it's a good opener for us as we continue designing, that we also look at the site organizations during construction so that people living with disabilities can also be able to be part of the workers. I'm here to represent the Principal Secretary at the State Department of Housing, Urban Development, and Public Works. He would have liked to be with us here today to give this opening address, but due to other exigencies of duty, he was not able to come. He has requested me to come and read the speech on his behalf, and I will do exactly that. So this is the speech by Charles Zinga Mwaura, the Principal Secretary for Housing, Urban Development, and Public Works, during the official opening of the first annual Interior Design Conference on 31st May 2018 at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Upper Hill, Nairobi. Honorable Dr. David Ole Sangok, Chairman of the National Council of Persons with Disabilities, a nominated Member of Parliament, Professor Mugendi Ridha, President Emeritus, World Design Council, Professor Odoch Pindo, Associate Professor at Technical University of Kenya, professionals in the built environment, manufacturers, suppliers of building and construction materials, senior government officials present, members of IDAK, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm pleased to be here this morning to open the first annual Interior Design Conference. Indeed, applaud the association for organizing this event of interior designers who are part of the built environment professionals. The State Department of Housing, Urban Development, and Public Works fully support all professionals in the design industry, which include graphic designers, product designers, and interior designers. Each of these professionals have a critical role to play in the national economy and the realization of the national good. In support of the design professionals in Kenya, the government has undertaken the following measures. One, Establish a design department that develops standards and policies governing the design industry in the country. 2, incorporated design services, specifically the interior designers in the built environment projects. Promote the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya presidential directive in favor of product designers. Continually engage graphic designers locally and internationally by established institutions like Brand Kenya, Marketing Society of Kenya, among others. 5, to support young professional development programs through paid internship, industrial attachment, and employment. And lastly, to provide relevant support to previous and ongoing design undertakings in the country. The department shall continue to support the design industry with a view to providing an excellent environment for the growth of the profession. The State Department is developing a design policy to legislate the training, practice, and development of all design professionals. I call upon each one of you here today to be part of this journey in the development of a policy framework to guide the profession. Under the economic transformation agenda, the government has laid a solid foundation for Kenya's industrialization as envisaged in the Kenya Vision 2030. Building on the progress made so far and with the aim of transforming the lives of Kenyans, the government has prioritized policy objectives under the Big Four agenda that will lead to faster growth of the economy. One of the central agenda is to provide affordable housing to all Kenyans by targeting construction of at least 500,000 affordable houses by the year 2022. This will be achieved through the professionals in the built environment sector, interior designers included. There lies a great opportunity for each of you in this program. I'm banking on the professional associations to regularly hold continuous capacity development trainings to the members to improve their skills. The ministry shall support towards realization of this objective. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of your conference, Inclusive Design as a Catalyst for Change, comes at a time when my department is championing and developing affordable housing for all. Therefore, this reminds us that we have a responsibility to develop together a universally accessible built environment. My State Department, in conjunction with the Kenya Bureau of Standards, the National Council of Persons with Disability, and other stakeholders, were involved in development and adoption of universal accessibility standards for the built environment, which were gazetted in 2015 and are now in use. I will note that I and Christine were very much involved in the development of that legislation, and it is quite inclusive and detailed, and if everybody should be able to look at that, we can be able to have a perfect built environment accessible for all. This is in compliance with Article 40 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which Kenya is a state party to. Also, the State Department has reviewed the building code and is waiting for gazettement. With these initiatives, among others, the built environment will be responsive to all in the society. I call upon each of you here today to comply with the universal accessibility standards for the built environment for betterment of the construction industry. The realization of the green building agenda in Kenya, which my State Department is championing, starts with each of you. The objective of this initiative is to mitigate climate change effects on the built environment. The initiative entails integration of energy and resource efficiency in buildings by incorporating passive design elements and adoption of sustainable building materials and application of renewable energy technologies in the housing and construction projects to achieve smart cities and smart housing development processes. There is need for interior designers to understand that building should be designed and built sustainably. I call upon this association to promote and improve the awareness of green building design practices, programs, and operations. This can best be achieved through collaboration with various key stakeholders. This practice should be part of your continuous professional development program, which this association administers. Lastly, I believe that the discussions and deliberations during this conference will be informative and constructive to each of you, and the country at large shall benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, I declare this conference officially open. Thank you. Just to add a few of my remarks, or having been an architect and working with interior designers, even from the speech, it's clear that we've established and we are continually making a strong design department, and that is in cognition of the role the interior designers play in the development of our project. Even now, every time we are requesting, even for consultants, we always put an interior designer to be part and parcel of the build environment team or the consortium that is going to develop anything, because we accept that even thinking about space should be considered at the first time the first line is done, other than to wait when a structure is finished and then you start looking at how to enhance the space. So we believe in the ministry that the thinking should be right from the beginning so that everything can be incorporated. The existence of the policy of people with disabilities, which I was gladly involved in, outlines very clear details of what should be done. If it can be followed, I think we'll have no challenges for people living with disabilities. And as I said before, let's also start thinking that even when we set up our sites, that we acknowledge that even people living with disabilities can be part of the workers. So thank you very much.